Other issues. Last month, you will recall, the federal court found that the Gillard government had acted illegally by introducing the live cattle export ban in 2011. Almost immediately as the judgment was delivered, the Attorney-General indicated that the Morrison government would consider appealing the decision, concerned that the ruling could restrict future decision-making powers for ministers. Well, from the outset, National MPs argued that any appeal would break faith with the cattle farmers that had been supported by the coalition in opposition, but who now felt abandoned by them in government. And a number of these National MPs have now put their concerns in writing. Leader of the Nationals in the Senate, the Honourable Bridget McKenzie, joins me now. Bridget McKenzie, thank you. Great to have you on the show. Thank you for your time. You and I know, but I'm amplifying this for viewers at home, it is a very big step for you to write a letter of objection about one of your own government decisions or would-be decisions, certainly something in the carriage of a minister. Have you tried to raise this with the AG face-to-face, or have you tried and that's failed? This letter shows that you're really serious.
Yeah, well, Peter, we are really serious, and you're dead right. You and I were both there in 2011 where this outrageous and appalling decision was made by the Gillard government under Joe Ludwig, the then Agriculture Minister, decimating a $1.6 billion industry, family cattle farms, right throughout WA, NT and Queensland, and rightfully so. The coalition opposition at the time called it out for what it was. Tony Abbott said it was one of the most appalling decisions ever made, and he was right. And Justice Raries agreed with him in a decision handed down after years, almost a decade now since that decision was made. But they've been in and out of court for many, many years fighting that decision. And, you know, as National Party senators, we stand with the cattle industry, the beef industry, our family farmers who've been fighting to be recognised, who've been rebuilding their businesses. And now we think it would just be a kick in the guts for them to have a federal government actually agree with essentially a Gillard government decision. The National Farmers Federation agrees, the Northern Territory Cattlemen's Association, AgForce from Queensland. Everyone is united that, we need to stand with our farming communities, accept the decision of Justice Raries, whether the unique aspects of this case are such that it is highly unlikely this could ever be applied in another way. However, it's all taxpayers' money that's being spent if we chose to appeal this as a government. And we believe as National Party senators that there's a very low chance of success rate for any such appeal. And it's not in the best interests of the government or the cattlemen.
Let me just pull you up on the point about precedent. That's the crux of the AG's concern. It's not so much about the legal fact, the substance of the claim they have against the Gillard government. What he's worried about, he said this publicly, is that this then becomes a precedent that ministers' decisions are automatically appellable. Now, you say you don't think that's a precedent. Where are you differing from the Attorney-General?
Well, there is a variety of legal advice around the type of precedent that this would actually set and whether the test of reasonableness could only be applied here or proportionality. Now, they're highly technical legal arguments, and there are very, very learned men and women who have differing views on this. So we as a team have put an opposing view to the Attorney-General, which we hope he will consider. We know he needs to take the best legal advice in, but we need to also appreciate that the Solicitor-General who advised government back then to, take this case on was also the one that's also recommending that we appeal it. Now, there are people, very learned people out in our communities and the legal community who disagree. They think that this has a very low chance of success. That is the advice to the National Farmers Federation. It's advice to a whole lot of people involved in this case. And so it's only right and proper that the government considers both sides of an argument before making a decision that would have significant impact, not just for future governments around decision-making, but also, as we saw with Andrew Robb's and Don McGeecky's letter to the Australian this week, to the broader agriculture industry and the signal it sets from our government. The reality is that this was a unique... this was such a unique set of circumstances, Peter, that if we appeal, then and it loses, like we can't actually, there's actually no reason why this should be going forward. It will actually end up with a worse outcome than to appeal.
I get that, but I mean,
sorry.
At the moment, it's just an internal stoush, and you'd think that the government, the two parties inside the government, you guys can sort this out, that it doesn't need to resort in letters. Why can't there be an ex gratia payment, which for those people who are not, lawyers, a payment that says you've suffered harm, doesn't admit liability, but certainly gives them the compensation that's their due out of this federal court case at the very least. And then the AG can go off and fight the point of law if he wants to, but not put these farmers through the cost of an appeal and I guess all the stress, because it's been, and I know you support them, but it's been a decade that they've fought this really bad decision by a really bad minister all the way through the courts. Can't we just give them their compensation as they're owed?
Yeah, I agree 100%, Peter, you and I on this. And I don't think there's any argument within government about paying out the farmers. We know there'll be in excess of 300 claimants. The class action's still open. So if you're a truckie or a fencing contractor that was involved with live cattle exporters, you're still able to join that class action. And we estimate that could be in excess of $600 million. There's no argument within government.
Set up a fund.
There's no argument, Peter. There's no, I've not heard an argument from
government. Set up a fund, get it done. Why aren't they doing it? Come on.
Well, because I talked to cattlemen today, again, as we have, it is not just about the money for them. It is actually about the principle of the fact. And, again, Robin McGeckie's letter, Tom Stockwell's letter, again, there's all writing, whether they're family farm owners or actually involved in the National Farmers Federation. It's about a sense of betrayal by a coalition government that these family farmers who've been through the ringer over the last 9 years, not just for this decision, but you think of the floods in Queensland, the devastating drought that they've been going through, and this would just be morally wrong.
I've got to leave it there. I'm on your side on this. I'm on the farmers' side on this. We were there in the fight against this bad decision, and I can't understand why the coalition now is backflipping on that decision. But good luck in the battle ahead with your own side inside the coalition.
Authorised by Bridget McKenzie, National Party of Australia, Wodonga.